No, just tell him that the Crusade programming takes the form of Ron DeSantis.
That's just too fucking.
Oh Christ! Deliver me! No.
It's like, well, then that would happen if he's in Hodge's mind and her Crusade programming takes the form of Ron DeSantis. Dura will be able to cleanse that in no time. Traveler would be very happy to get rid of that.
Isn't Order 66, like, wasn't that put in place by Ron DeSantis? I think it was. I really do. That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
No, I thought Palpatine was George Bush.
Well, he reincarnated as George Bush, and now he's reincarnated as somebody else because Bush is useless now.
I was gonna say only because he isn't orange.
First of all, if Palpatine was anybody, he would definitely be Ronald Reagan, because Reagan is awesome and Palpatine is awesome. Like, I grew up on Ronald Reagan and watched him deal with global crisis. Let's not forget that when you piss Reagan off, he dropped a bomb and killed your daughters.
No, I was right there with you, man. You and I are of an age. We both remember him.
Yeah.
What kind of misogynistic bombs was Ronald dropping?
So Gaddafi funded some terrorists who hijacked a liner and was really trying to piss everybody off over the head. And ultimately, what ended up happening was Gaddafi finally pushed Reagan too far, and Reagan launched a strike. And the French, being the French because cowards, said, you can't fly through our airspace. So Reagan's like, okay, no problem. He literally flew his bombing mission around France and Spain just to drop bombs on Gaddafi. Well, Gaddafi wasn't there, but we killed his wife, or we severely injured one of his wives and killed two of his daughters. And then Gaddafi piped up. The last time you ever heard of him.
Shaped like dicks. Darrow, do you really have to ask how misogynistic that really is?
I'm just saying the wording. I perked up. I'm like, what kind of misogynistic bombs did we have back then?
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, you didn't mess with America back in those days. If Reagan parked a carrier battle group off your coast, you knew some shit was gonna go down. We did it all the time, and these pussy ass politicians we have now, and Trump is one of them. You know, they just don't measure up to Reagan. People don't seem to remember Reagan raised taxes in America and made it painful. He got people in line, took care of, and built one of the best militaries in the planet. I mean, he really, I'm not gonna lie, dude, he literally was Palpatine of the real world.
I tend to agree with you on that one.
Anyway, we are recording. We're 4 minutes in, and I'm sure nobody gives a shit about my politics.
Oh, 4 minutes into the recording of listening to you sing the praises of Reagan?
Well, I mean, he's one of our best presidents.
Do me a favor before you load this on YouTube. Can you edit all of that off?
Oh no, I haven't figured out how to edit.
Called
note to those,
audacity, man.
That's Reagan.
And
note to those of us who are going to be listening later, we'll avoid the first 5 minutes.
And the funny thing about it is watching the hearts of Trump supporters slowly shatter when I say, "Oh, MAGA? Do you mean let's make America great again? The campaign slogan from a far better president, Ronald Reagan. Trump hasn't had an original idea, period. And just for the record, my mom made me lick envelopes for the Reagan campaign when he was going for re-election.
Well, that's some trauma.
I keep telling people don't seem to understand. I'm not a Democrat. I've always been a Republican. Just because the rest of the Republican Party is no longer Republican isn't my fault. They're all rhinos. So, anyway. Nova, we're going to start with you tonight. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, it's been a long while traveling back to the village. Coordinating, getting permissions.
What date do I arrive so I can have it?
I don't know. I don't remember the last date we were talking about, so we'll just say this. Add 3 weeks to your current calendar. Does that work for you?
So she'll be 8/5 then.
Okay. So it's taken you 3 weeks to get back to the village. You were able to hitch a ride on one of Sereno's blockade runners as they're smuggling weapons and arms to the resistance. And the ship sets down, and the sides open up, and people are waiting for it, and they start to offload all these weapons and arms that are going to be used against the uh, the imperial forces of Bakhlit. One of the tribal leaders walks up. Miss Du, welcome. Welcome back.
It is good to be back.
We were surprised at your request to return. But, of course, someone of your stature we would never deny. You must be tired. Let me show you to your hut. We have very surprising information.
I see. Okay, well.
And as you guys are walking through the village, he'll start talking to you. Thanks to the weapons that Sereno has been delivering to us, we're able to strike a very surprising blow. Well, not apparently. Let me start from the beginning. We shot down a transport craft in the northern mountain region. One of our friends. The crash site was very beneficial. There was supplies, medical supplies mostly, food stuff. There was passengers. They didn't interrogation, but something did survive. Surprising discovery. Apparently, this craft, from what we could tell, was heading deep into the mountain. No base that we're aware of, and no facility that we're aware of. And he leads you to a cabin, and there's people waiting there for you. And one of them has a case, and you recognize the case has, the imperial symbol. And they lay the case down on your on a table, and they open it up, and you know what you're looking at. They're vials of of biological matter. It's what's used to create DNA templates. We don't know what it's for, but we're wondering if you could take it to Sereno and have it examined.
I can do that.
Good. It looks very important. The man who was trying to protect it, well, he did a very valiant job and almost destroyed it before we were able to subdue him and take his life. The other mystery about this is that the pilot, the navigator, the crew, those of them who survived, at the mere suggestion of interrogation, they took their own lives. They apparently, and he opens his mouth, they apparently had something in their teeth they bit down on. We were unaware of this, whatever this is, but it killed them quickly.
Suicide capsules, probably.
Well, not something that we're used to dealing with. There were a group of scientists on board. We could tell by their white shirts, their white jackets, but beyond that, nothing else of noteworthy value. Like I said, it was filled with medical supplies and food supplies, which aided our own efforts greatly. But this case seemed very important. One of the new demolition droids that Sereno has given us informed us that there was explosives inside the case, apparently to ensure the case doesn't fall into the wrong hands. The man defending it was unable to activate the explosives before we killed him.
That's good to hear.
And they closed the case. The demolitions devices have been made inert by our demolitions droid, so it's safe to handle and operate.
May I see the explosives?
Of course. And he'll show you where they are in the case. Go ahead and give me a demolitions check.
I rolled crappy today. It's a 9.
Okay. So, I mean, you're pretty sure that the explosives that they used in this, it's definitely high quality. That's the best you can get out of it. And you're pretty sure that whatever explosives or how the explosives were designed would have destroyed the entire case and ensured that it would have, prevented whatever the contents were of falling into the enemy hands.
Gotcha.
And you've seen vials like this before at the ranch. And you definitely recognize the ranch's emblem on each of the vials. We have our people in the area scouring for this mysterious base.
Be careful, it might be heavily fortified.
It can't be that heavily fortified. I mean, we know these mountains like the back of our hands. It can't be that big of a base. Unfortunately, from the crash, we were able to gain absolutely nothing. There was some type of programming that erased everything the moment the craft went down or something. We don't even know where the transport came from. And the pilot, in his... It was actually brilliant. From what my people told me, he dumped the fuel before they crashed, meaning we can't even triangulate based off of how far they've traveled.
That sucks for us, but we will see.
Anyway, if you could carry these back with you and make sure that they are handed over to our Sereno friends, we believe that they are able to figure out what this is. And if the demon governess is doing something she shouldn't be doing, well, then maybe something like this could expose her. We can use that to turn public opinion against her.
More people on our side, the better.
Agreed. Is there anything else I can get for you?
Not at this moment. I'll be resting for a little bit.
If you need anything, you have but to ask. Thank you, Miss Do.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of them will leave with you in the case, alone in your hut.
Let's see. Can I don't. Hmm. Can I put the vials in my bag and replace it with just random pieces of things that weigh the same?
You have nothing to replace them with, but
Yeah.
that's largely unnecessary. you're being asked to take the case with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So you possessing the case is pretty much what they expect.
Yeah. That's fine. I'll just figure another way to not let the Serranos have it.
Remember your
I don't
mission.
know. Yeah, I don't know how much Ava can. If Ava needs this, that's the thing.
Well, I mean, if it's heavily guarded and it's in an explosive case designed to protect it, then clearly it's something of extreme importance.
Yeah, and I should probably give it back to her, but also keep up experiences for Sereno,
Agreed.
which is I'm thinking of drop off point where I can give the vials to them and then I can give the case with it locked and secured and only I have the code to the Serenos, and when they open it it's not the vials.
Well, also keep in mind your mission and why you're here.
Yeah, I know why I'm here.
Okay. Because may not get that far.
Yeah.
And as it stands right now, you're the only one outside this village that knows about this case. So delivering to Serenos isn't necessarily an important factor.
Yeah. And I need to go see if I can meet the speaker again.
Well, you'll have to ask for permission.
Yeah. I will do that.
Okay. You're a friend of the village, so of course they'll make the speaker available for you. And they escort you to her hut, which is guarded by several droids and warriors. And you walk in, and she turns and smiles, and as she looks at you, ah, welcome back, says softly. And you notice she has a bit of a tear at the corner of her eye.
It is good to see you again. And she's playing with the necklace.
It's good to see you as well. Sorry about. And she wipes her eye, as she wipes her tear. I was thinking of my brother. He's out there somewhere, she says, pointing, in a wide arc towards the sky. He's being himself. And I miss him. Miss him greatly.
Out of character, she presses the button.
Okay.
And then in character, last I heard, he was in the unknown regions.
She nods. I've heard the same thing.
Be gone for many, many months.
Been quite a long time since I've seen him. I fear won't see him ever again. I had a dream that he was trapped on a world surrounded by glass. I don't think it was a vision, more like a dream.
Want to talk to it about it more while we have tea?
She smiles. You know my heart. Come, I'll make some. Have you ever heard of my brother, Duro Thaltanus?
I have. The infamous terrorist.
He's not a terrorist. Neither are these people. I don't think Duro could hurt anybody. He is kind, passionate. And she holds up her hand. It's a mechanical hand. I I didn't learn the same lessons that he did.
What did you practice then?
At one point in time, I was a Jedi. I I was the kind of Jedi that used to sneak in the shadows and spy on people and hunt down information. I thought I was pursuing a Darksider here on Baklid. That's where I've met my brother. I had friends, several in fact. We were all together, trying to uncover what we thought was a plot. It was a plot. But I was too late, and I was wrong about a great number of things. I I wonder if my brother would have made the same mistakes I did.
What were those mistakes, Holly?
And she walks over with 2 cups of tea and sets one down in front of you, and uh, goes back, picks up the pot and sets it down between you two, and she'll join you at the small table. I let pride get ahead of me. I didn't appreciate the more important things that I was learning. You see, there are certain events that I now know have to happen for the galaxy to move forward. These events don't happen, well, then things start to pile up like a logjam. I believed that it was possible to stop this thing from happening. And I did to a small degree. I stopped part of it, created a logjam. When the logjam finally broke free, it very destructive. I thought
The
oh sorry.
cathedral bombing.
Sorry, go
The
ahead.
cathedral bombing. The cathedral bombing?
Well, that was the result of the log jam breaking free. What I had stopped before was an assassination attempt on the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, the Coruscant one. I had ensured that he survived. In doing so, I exposed myself and my team to Jedi hunters who mistook us for the perpetrators. I thought in my arrogance that I was skilled enough to beat one of the finest swordsmen in the galaxy. She holds up her hand. I was wrong, and almost perished because of it. My friends saved my life, but not before some of them perished. The logjam started. Other events spun out of control. And my brother got wrapped up into all this mess. It's one of my greatest mistakes. Regrets, not mistakes. One of my greatest regrets. I never meant to cause him to get wrapped up in this. So, why have you come back?
To see how you guys are holding up, and some other things.
What other things?
Oh, I just snuck aboard a Sereno ship just to come see you and found out you guys took down a shuttle. So that's another thing I didn't realize happened.
No, they brought me the case. I was surprised to see that the samples had an unusually high metachlorine count. Unusually high for even what I am familiar with.
Metachlorian? What is that?
Well, metachlorines allow force sensitives to hear the will of the force. Everyone has it. They're symbiotic organisms that exist in all living things. But those who have a high enough concentration can hear through them the wills, the beings behind the force.
What makes Jedi Jedi?
No, no, I disagree. I'm sure people would argue with me, say that a Jedi is a Jedi because of their connection to the Force or their midichlorians. No, Jedi are Jedi because they have made a choice in their life to do things that nobody else would be willing to do. The Force is. It's their ally and source of knowledge. But it's not who they are or what they are. No different than a blaster that a warrior carries. On some levels. On other levels, it's different. But the relationship between the midichlorians and the Force user is pretty intimate.
That is very fascinating.
Thank you.
Were you able to tell who the samples came from, or you did not know?
I'm definitely a dark sider. When I foresaw
on the case, on the samples. There was pain and anger, rage even. Somebody powerful for sure. I'm troubled by the steps the governor is taking on this world. I wish my brother was here. He would know what to do.
He probably would yell at her a lot.
Or know how to stop her.
That's true. Out of character, how much time do I have left of that 20 minutes?
You got about 5.
I'll be right back. I gotta pull a cheesecake out of the oven.
Okay.
Oh, cheesecake.
Oh my god, this chick, oh my god, she's been like brownie cupcakes, cheesecake. I mean, it's just like, oh, stop. It is.
Yeah.
It has been such a test of my willpower to say no.
It all has fresh blueberries in it.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll go ahead and let you poll the party and see if anybody has any ideas on other things you should ask the speaker.
Help me stall for 5 more minutes.
Okay, so this is the speaker that you're talking to and not Duro's sister, or it's the both of them at the same time?
It appears to be more of the sister than the speaker.
Yeah, the last time I was here, it was probably the alien creature that I'm looking for. This one is the sister.
Okay, then if it was me, I would inquire as to why she's worried about what the governor is doing and what she knows about what the governor is doing. Because if I'm not mistaken, she is in this remote village on Baklid, and that you have no idea how she gets her information or how up to date her information is or how old it is. So that's what I would ask.
Well, the Serenos come here and drop stuff off, apparently. So she probably gets updates from them.
That answers that. But then you could ask her her opinion on what she does or doesn't like about what Ava's doing.
Yeah, I can ask that. Okay, cheesecake's out of the oven. I am ready.
Okay.
I'll ask what her opinion of Ava is.
Did you see what I put in the thread?
Yes.
Do you know what that's in reference to?
The first question of how she gets her information.
Okay, so game on. What are we doing?
Which I don't remember how to word it. But
Something along the lines of, you said that you're not, she wasn't sure about what the governor is doing, or she doesn't like what the governor is doing. Just say, can you explain what it is you're hearing that you don't like?
okay. Then, in character, she will ask, "What do you not like about the governor? What she's doing?"
I think the most grievous thing that she's doing is hunting down those like me. Well, not me particularly, but the creature that I share this body with.
Why are you so troubled about it?
Oh, somebody was intentionally hunting down everybody that was like you, leaving none to remain. Don't you think you would be a little upset?
A little bit, yeah.
I know that they're taken somewhere. They're taken somewhere deep underground, but I don't know where, and that troubles me. I'm almost the last one of my kind. All the others, well, most of the others have been hunted down.
Almost the last. That's interesting.
There's one of us in Rotterdam, keeping a keen eye on what's going on over there.
What's the news in Rotterdam? I haven't really listened in over there. Too busy in my camp.
She keeps an eye on the military spaceports. When large formations depart, she alerts me, and I, in turn, alert the locals. This way here, we have a good idea of where they're going.
That is a very good spot to hide.
It is. And there's an earth shattering boom as something explodes, and the whole village starts to erupt in blaster fire and people screaming, as you hear repulsors from multiple assault ships hovering overhead.
They sure know how to make an entrance, she whispers to herself.
And she looks at you with her head tilted sideways, and a moment of revelation crosses her face. You.
What about that?
You're the reason why they're here. She stands, and it
Oop.
looks like she's going to
I,
alert the guards outside.
I quickly go to cover her mouth.
Okay. Give me a melee attack roll.
Cool. Don't need guards on me, please. $15.
That's enough. You grapple her as she tries to scream, and you're covering her mouth. She's
Is there
She's quite the strong woman. And you hear combat outside. Give me a strength check to hold on to her.
My strength is crappy. Let's go. Oh no. That's a 4.
That's a 4. Well, she does manage to
Yeah.
break free, and
Yeah.
she grabs a knife from a platter that had meats and cheeses on it. It's a small kitchen style or table style knife, and she spins on you with it.
Okay. Can I grab
You have a
a
blaster.
tray?
Remember, you have a blaster.
Yeah, a blaster, but I don't know if I don't remember if it has a stun setting.
It does.
Cool. I'm
Nearly
gonna use
every
that.
weapon in this universe has it.
I'm going to use that.
Okay. Range attack.
Do you want me to just roll my blaster pistol that I
Yep.
have?
Yep.
That's a 29 attack.
Okay. And you hit her. And her unconscious body falls to the floor. And within moments later, the door explodes open with um, dead hand fleet soldiers charging in, and they're aiming their blasters at you. Drop it.
Okay. I'll do that.
On your hands and knees.
Okay. I do that.
And they approach, and one of them is carrying a small box with like a small little cupped antenna on it, and it's beeping. And they walk up to you, and it beeps louder and louder and louder until it's like right next to your pendant. And they roll the woman over and open up her shirt and reveal the creature. And it's like, inform the commander, we have our target.
You also might want to take this case from me.
And they'll take the case, and somebody will walk up and hit you in the side of the head with the butt of their blaster rifle.
Cool.
And unceremoniously throw you in shackles and drag your now bleeding head out of the hut with the unconscious speaker. And around you, you see the village and the dead hand, the troopers that have landed, the Marines that have landed, are anyone that tries to resist is getting killed. Everybody else is being dragged out of their huts, men, women, and children. They're searched, and you hear, you'll see like a group of them lined up in front of a firing squad, and then you can hear the simultaneous blast and the bodies hitting the dirt. Flamethrower troopers are torching the huts. The big explosion you heard was the Sereno ship. Apparently, that was one of their primary targets, was to engage it.
Yeah, I see.
And they drag you towards a waiting shuttle, and they move the speaker onto a repulsor sled. They shackle her down, and immediately a droid will walk up and a medical droid and place a mask over her face and sedate her with a syringe. As the droid reports, almost, gleefully, both life forms are stable.
I have news. There's another one in Rotterdam.
Stand by. And he puts you down, and they make sure to parade you in shackles across the entire village, so that everyone can see that they captured you.
That's fine with me.
And they take you to one of the shuttles and tosses you into a secure cell. Not a cell, excuse me, but a secure compartment with no windows. And after a few moments, the a trooper walks in with a helmet, full face helmet thing, and you can tell by the body shape that it's female, you know. And the door closes, and once the door closes and seals behind the trooper, moves her, and it's Miss Pound.
Hello, Miss Pound.
Greetings, Nova. Your mission was a success.
To a point, but there's another one hiding in Rotterdam.
There is.
Yes, looking over the military section for flights.
There's 2 military facilities that we operate out of. This is valuable information.
There's also scouts heading for the ranch they're looking for.
Yeah, we've lost one of our special transports a couple of days ago. We were worried that they might have discovered something. Your retrieval of the case is impressive, and sure Empress Forma will be greatly pleased.
They wanted me to deliver it to Sereno.
The fools. This mission has been very successful. Thanks to your intelligence, the Empress now has enough information to act against the followers of the Angel.
That is good. Those ghosts in the camp, 13.
Oh,
They're good at their job.
good. And fear not. She looks out, around. You will not be returning. Phuong Minh Do will be publicly executed.
And I can go back to being Rainrook.
Not quite.
Hmm.
The Empress
As,
has something else in store for you.
of course she does. That is fine.
Fear not. You will be returning to the palace. Just not as Rain.
Okay.
You see her reach into one of her cargo pouches and pulls out a injector. You notice in the injector is one of those vials that came out of the case. This
Oh,
was, in fact, being prepared for you.
for me.
Yes, for you. It is a gift from the Empress. And she'll hold it out for you.
I will take it.
She said that you would understand better than anybody that she needs a hand, someone she can trust without question, to take care of matters that need to be discreet. This is your acceptance to that role.
Where do
Or,
you need me to put it?
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
How shall I inject it? Because I accept.
I'll be honest, I don't know. As far as I was told, anywhere in your body, I suppose. That being said, you don't have to do this. The Empress wanted you to know that she will gladly accept you as Rain or as her hand. It doesn't matter to her. She's making a choice. She's allowing you to make the choice. It's whatever you want. You can serve her as her hand or return to the palace as Rain.
I will be her hand.
She motions you to go ahead.
I will go ahead and put it on me.
Okay. Fortitude check, please.
Cool. 21.
Okay. The as it injects into you, the very first sensation, um, the very first sensation she feels is pain, life altering pain. It's as if wherever this chemical moves or this thing moves through you, it's fire in your blood, in your body. And you can't help but scream its pain. Now, you made the DC, so you're not going unconscious, which is a mixed blessing. You're not unconscious, but you get the feel it spread through your body like fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
You rise up, and twisting in agony, and then fall to your knees, and you can hear voices in your mind speaking to you, and you are like, everything is, you can feel everything. You can feel the sorrow and the agony of the children not far away as they're being loaded into transports. You can
So,
hold on.
so this is. I want to know. She's just gonna say this is what Tesara and Doro feel. God.
No, you're not going to say anything. You're
I,
screaming and raving in pain.
yeah.
And you can sense, the slaughter of the adults and the young adults in the village. And you can just, I mean, it's horrific. You can feel everything about what's going on. And there's a sensation nearby,
almost a satisfied, you know, smugness of the woman watching you. She expected you to die. And yet, there she is, watching you survive this. After about 15, 20 minutes of this writhing, horrific pain, it starts to subside. Nova, can you hear me?
I can.
And she taps the door, and it slides open, and a Traguda female walks in. Allow me to introduce your instructor. This woman's name is Shakti. She will help you understand the gift that Empress Forma has given you.
Can I have the spelling of her race and name?
I believe Duro is already about to take care of that. And she's going to turn around and start to walk out, and she pauses at the door and kind of turns her head over her shoulder as she's, looking at you and Shakti. Welcome, Empress's hand. And she walks out. And on that, we're going to end your scene.
Well, damn.
That empty feet slot that you've been holding open, you may now put in Force Sensitive.
Yeah. Damn, Miss Pound being all smug, thinking I would die. Screw you.
Well, I mean, they haven't tested it. They weren't sure if you were going to live or not.
I was actually afraid that it was all a ruse and it was going to kill you.
Thank you, General Graf. Just want you to know what Ava had to go through to get that sample.
Now that we've had a fun time with Nova.
I'm just giving people an opportunity to like decompress over the scene.
Damn. All right. Well,
So I don't have the skill points to qualify for it yet, but that's fine.
You
ooh, I,
should have the feet already open because you
Yeah, I
just
have the feet
yeah
open.
that's it. and you'll pick everything up as you continue. Your next level up will be as an Imperial Hand.
Okay.
Because you have all the other prerequisites except for Force sensitivity. Now you have it. So your next
Well,
level up, you should be able to pick up Force. You should be able to pick up Imperial Hand.
I think I'm missing a couple ranks and things still.
You know, and I thought we already went over this. Oh, maybe.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
I have an
'Cause I'm
observation
missing, like,
question.
2.
I'm listening.
Okay, so we know that she looked like Phuong Minh Do when she was captured. But when this happened, and they said that Phuong Minh Do would be executed publicly, right?
Yeah.
So what does she look like now?
No, she's gonna go back through the surgery, and she's gonna when after all of this, she's gonna she'll be resuming her normal identity.
That was the question that I had was, will she look like Nova again?
Yeah. Her mission as Phuong Minh Do is over.
So they're gonna dress up some rando stranger as Do Fong Min and publicly execute the dummy.
Yep, pretty much. There'll be probably some survivor from the village that they dress up and drag out there, and she'll be screaming, and then they'll just lop her fucking.
Yep.
Not dead yet.
Ava does like her show.
And I get to feel it all.
Tesara, are you ready?
So Duro isn't saying it, but I'm going to say it. Aye.
Yeah, you okay, Duro?
He did say he was tired, so it is possible he has either had to step away or is in nod.
I'm just making sure he's okay. I'm worried about my friend. Anyway, so Ava, do you have any comments for your new Imperial Hand? Or your Empress's Hand?
The Empress owes me a day with Sheev and the other kid.
Well, the other kid. Yeah, we know who's the favorite child now. Tesara.
Yes.
So you are awoken that night with a horrible sense of forebodingness. Something very dark is about to happen.
She's going to sit up and look around the hut. Is she alone?
She is alone.
She will exit the hut.
It's, of course, perfectly light outside. So there's no sense in, like, it's there's no darkness.
Yep.
So, but you do know that there's far less activity than other times of day.
But she has absolutely no sense of time.
You're pretty sure that, you're pretty sure it's nighttime.
That would make sense because if there's not as much activity going on, that means that people are likely asleep.
Correct.
Okay, so if she was to I don't know if I could roll, but spot I might be the thing, or something like she wants to try and like connect to the force to see if she can sense anything else or sense anything at all.
What do you want to roll?
Hang on. Okay, I will just roll spot. It's not a force skill, but hang on. It is a 24. That
Okay.
does not include the bonuses I get for being on Origin. Which it was 10, right?
Yeah. So, what are you doing? You're trying to look around?
Yes, I'm trying to see if there's anything that she can see that might have been the cause of this sense of unease.
So, looking around, you notice a couple of younger warriors moving through the huts. Um, they're armed with something very unique.
Okay, can she see what it is?
So, most of the weapons you've seen carried by the warriors, with the exclusion of Nazel, Jer'rin, and his mother, they've been mostly kind of bone weapons, rock weapons. There's been a rare, there's been rare metal weapons, but they've been crude. And remember, you saw that smith bending metal, and it's something that is just now dawning on you. If they can bend metal, why are they using stone and bone style weapons?
Okay, observational question. Can she tell whether or not these are Valfolk people or Nirani people?
They're definitely Val folk. And the nature of the way they move appears to be in such a way that they're trying to conceal their actions.
Um, how far away is the furthest one from her?
What do you mean?
So she stepped out of the hut. How close is she to one of them? Like the closest one to her, how far away are they?
There's two of them, and if she doesn't move, she's gonna lose sight of them as they vanish behind a hut.
Well, then she's going to I'm going to move silently. Um and I'm going to try and follow them. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, I rolled a 19, so plus 10, 29.
Okay. So you are successfully following them. And as you're following them, you notice that there's a group of warriors, that have gathered hidden within the huts over down by the entrance to the village. And they are also dressed differently than other Val warriors.
Okay, but she cannot see Jer'rin or Nazel anywhere, right?
No, but you are following these two warriors. Again, the weapons they're carrying, they're so one of them has a spear that's made completely out of metal. And he's got a shield that is also made out of metal. And on his back, he has or not on his back, but off his hip, he's got a very finely made metal axe. Now the handle is still wooden, but the axe head is metal, and it looks very finely made.
So she can extrapolate that these were weapons made by the metal benders.
Well, you've only seen one.
Okay, but she could still figure out in
Yes.
her mind, she can make that leap.
Yes.
Okay, she's going to continue to follow them.
Okay. And as you continue to follow them, they head up the valley wall, and they move further down, and from here you have a better advantage point. Give me a spot check.
So I rolled 23, so that's 33.
Okay. So you notice there are three groups of warriors that you can see. There's one you've already identified, which is near the entrance to the village. There's a second group near the entrance of the village, but kind of spread a little bit further out from they are. It's almost like they have a positioning set up. And then a third group is on the western side of the wall, and you quickly come to think of, or actually, do you have knowledge tactics?
Here's the thing. I thought I did, but I was overruled, so no, I do not.
Give me an intelligence check.
I rolled a 21, and that's not one
Okay.
of the ones I can take a bonus on.
So you remember Duro explaining tactics to you a long time ago. And he draws out this really basic maneuver called a pincer maneuver. And in fact, your village very successfully pulled off a pincer maneuver while Duro was helping and commanding them in the defense of their village from a rival village that was going to come raid you guys.
Okay.
And they finally reach the fourth group of warriors. And again, these warriors are dressed very differently than the traditional Val folk. The Val folk normally wear leather armor, banded with every once in a while you'll see a Val folk with pieces of crude metal attached to the leather. But most of the time it's, padding over top of leather.
Yeah.
These warriors, while they still wear the leather, underneath their leather, you can see they have chainmail.
Okay, but just to clarify, she knows that these are Valfolk warriors, right?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
at this group, you see Nazel.
Is she dressed the same way?
She is.
All right.
And they all have their war paint on.
Can she move close enough? Actually, wait. Is she close enough to hear them? Or would I need to roll listen? Or is she nowhere near enough to hear them and I would need to move closer?
So here's how this is going to work. You're going to roll listen. The higher you roll, the further away you can be. The lower you roll, the closer you're going to have to be to hear it.
Yeah, that's fair. Hold on. Okay, I rolled a 17, so plus 10 is 27.
Okay, so you're pretty decent away. And the warriors approach and they report to Nazel that they've managed to get almost all of the cabal. One of the warriors questions Nazel, "Will not the spirits be angry about this? We are breaking law." And Nazel answers in something that really bothers. Well, I don't know. It'll be up to you. This is her answer. "The spirits may be angry, but the Coruscant Gods are with us today." And she pulls a small metal disc from her pocket, and she moves it along a little bit and waits. And then from the other side of the wall, you can see a similar flash. And then the flash kind of looks like it's directed towards the village. And so Nazel tells her warriors, "Let's go." And they start moving along the edge towards the mouth of the valley, as if sealing the pincer. Again, you remember Duro explaining this to you. You remember seeing how effective it was.
She's going to follow them as silently as possible.
Okay. And they're moving along the edges. You see the other group move, and then they start to come down a little bit to about halfway down the mouth of the valley. And there's a signal, and Nazel stops her people. And then Nazel takes her metal disc and flashes again, and it looks like she's like answering. And one of the warriors is like, "Will you teach us to speak with the light?" And Nazel smiles and nods. "Once we cast off the spirits, I will teach you all the wonders and wisdom that the Coruscant Gods have taught us."
Tesara's pretty surprised at that. And then she frowns and realizes she probably shouldn't be surprised at that. And she is watching their faces. Can she see them, their faces from where she is?
She's behind them, so no, you would not be able to see their faces. All you can see is their backs and their movements. Every once in a while, you'll catch their faces, and they're still painted up in war paint.
Okay, is there any kind of reaction to her words then? Not necessarily what their faces look like, but I mean like body language, or is there any muttering or anything that shows to Sara that they are nervous about what she just said?
There's definitely no indication that they're nervous. And the way that they're moving indicates the excitement of the coming battle. You see the flashes from the other side of the valley again. And then, Nazel tells her warriors, "We move forward to the next checkpoint. Remember, move quietly."
Okay. Observation question.
Yes.
How close are they to reaching the point of the pincer?
They're probably one more movement action away from sealing the pincer.
And where within the village? Because they're on the outskirts of the village, is that right?
Yep.
So, in relation to where she can hopefully, like, sort of look and estimate where that pincher is going to actually come into fruition, how far away is that from the temple?
They're nowhere near the temple. They are encircling the Narani.
That was my next question, which is if it's not the temple that they're close to, then it's the Narani that they're going after. All right. So,
You see Nazel give a signal after receiving a flash, and half of her warriors draw bows and notch arrows.
all right. I would like to poll the party.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet.
Thoughts about what she should do?
I mean, she either watches what happens or she tries to stop them.
Yes, I know those are her options. I'm hoping to get advice as to what to do.
Not gonna like my advice.
But I asked for it.
Cut out, Davis. This is not your fight. This is not your world. This is not your. Don't. You said your piece. What they do with it is their business, and that sucks, but not going to be there to clean up their wounded, their dead, or if this goes on for years and years and years.
Okay. Does anybody have any other input, either for or against Lily's suggestion?
What is Tesara thinking right at this moment?
She is actually considering the consequences of either Lily's suggestion of budding out and piecing out, or attempting to get closer and try and stop them. Here's the thing, the stopping them is a little tricky because what Lily said is true, but at the same time, the only thing is they do have a baby with them and other innocent people. So, yes, what's going to happen is going to happen if she had never woken up, if she had never done anything. But the baby and any other of the innocent of the Narani will also die. So the speech that she made was in hopes that no innocent lives would be lost. That is obviously a naive hope on now. I'm trying to decide whether or not Tesara will be haunted by the action of turning and backing away, knowing that it's very likely that the mother and the baby will die. The other warriors, if they wake up and there's a fight, then they die with honor and what they, whatever, right? But it's the baby and the mother that she's thinking about right now.
She's not thinking about it. She's accepting responsibility for them. She's taken on that mother and child onto herself and said, I'm responsible for saving them. Why does she think that's her responsibility?
Because of everything that she was taught, not just by Duro, but by her family. Like, if somebody is in danger of dying, you do what you can to stop it. And Duro's teaching of this is what the Jedi do. Even though she set down that path, that training is still ingrained in her.
And you know what your answer is. Just explained what Tesara is thinking and feeling and would do and why she would do it. You have your answer.
Yep.
Okay. Can you give me 2 minutes?
Sure can.
Okay, sorry about that. My phone was dying and my charger was being a butt.
No problem.
All right. So let's see. So she is watching these two separate groups approaching each other in this pincer formation.
4.
4 groups. Okay.
Remember the 2 from the village are moving in also.
Okay, so there's 4 separate groups of Valfolk moving towards the Nirani. Observation question. How many is that in comparison to the amount of people of the Nirani that are there?
The Nirani have in total about 100 warriors and non-warriors.
You said 100 total?
Yeah. Warriors and
Okay.
non-warriors alike.
Okay. And sorry, how many of these people are there approximately in these 4 groups total?
Well, Nazel has 6 in her group plus her, so 7 in total. Assuming the group you saw, there was, 8 in that group. So you figure if they're roughly the same size, you're looking at, 8 and 7, and then another 8 and another 7 maybe. You're looking at 14, 16, 24, 30.
So approximately 30 warriors.
Right.
Okay. So, and her observation of the Nirani in their 100 or so people, how many of those could she possibly guess are warriors?
A third, somewhere between a third and a half.
Okay. So, imagining this in my head, trying to picture this in my head. They are moving in this formation towards where the Narani are camped.
Right.
If she was to, in my head, I'm seeing it one way, but if she was to cut off and go through the village to the other side of the Narani camp from where the pincer formation will be meeting, can she do that?
Only if you had bursts of speed. That's a feat.
Yeah, I'm seeing right now. Hang on a second.
Because you'd have to run
No.
long ways all the way around. There would be
Wait,
no moving silently.
she can't cut through in between huts?
You're not in the village. Remember, this group moved along the valley, the valley wall, and then down the backside where the entrance into the valley was. They're on the other side. Between you and the village is the Narani.
Okay. So, looking around quickly, could she guesstimate how long it would take her to get to the other side of the Narani camp? And she would be how late would she be arriving to where it would have already been starting the fight?
Let me ask you this. This is make this a hell of a lot easier. Where on this map are you trying to reach? Are you trying to reach one of the Val groups, or are you trying to reach the Narani village, the Narani encampment?
I'm trying to reach the Narani encampment, but sort of like on the other side from where the attack of the Valfolk will be happening. It's like if you're on a football field, okay, and there's team A and team B, and team A is the Valfolk and team B is the Narani. She wants to go to the goalpost behind where the Narani are.
Okay,
And
so great analogy. If you were to picture the Narani, their encampment at the 50-yard line, okay?
yep.
The home side of the home side of the football stadium, you have two groups moving along the edges of the football field.
Yep.
On the visitor side, coming down through the bleachers, you have two groups of Valfolk moving towards the Narani encampment. You are with the left side of those two groups. Does that help you
Okay.
picture what's going on?
It does. My confusion comes in is if she wanted to break off from that party she is currently following, could she get to like the 35-yard line and watch what is happening as the Narani are suddenly surrounded?
You can stay right where you are and watch what's going on. You have a perfect vantage point.
All right, so where she is right now, she could see everything that is about to happen.
Yep.
Okay, just for distance, because I need this, and I'm sorry, I know it's a lot of questions, but like, how close to the field is she in the bleachers?
So the Nazel's group is about 50 yards away. You are 10 yards behind Nazel's group.
Okay, okay, so she will continue moving with them then,
Okay. Well, currently they've come to a stop.
and then she will as well.
Okay. As I said, half of Nazel's group is readying arrows, and you can see from your vantage point, you can see the other group, and you can, you're pretty sure you can identify Jer'rin is in that other group. and his people are, and some of his are also armed with bows, and they're taking aim. And Jer'rin, you can see him pull up a small piece of metal and flash the two groups by the camp, or I mean by the village, and flash Nazeel's group. And Nazel says, "Target the gods. Fire." And almost simultaneously, and right before she said fire, you noticed that she was doing something. You saw her counting in her fingers. And once she hit a point, she said fire. And at the same time, Jer'rin's group, you could see them, they fired. The 6 guards moving through the Nirani camp all fall over.
Okay, when they fall over, is there noise that they make or any shouting to alert that they're being attacked?
No.
Okay.
And
The
hold on. That's a really good question to ask, because if these warriors had just gotten those bows, Zara's trained with a bow all her life. She knows the skill required to pull off these shots.
right, so she can make an assumption that Jer'rin directed these arrows with move object to hit exactly where he wanted them to hit, and all pretty much at the same time.
And how would you prove that?
C force, I'd probably be too late to roll C force.
Not necessarily.
All right, well then let me roll it. I rolled a 16 plus whatever my force skill bonus is for being on Origin.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't affect your force. Well, so
Okay.
don't worry about it. So he's not only can you feel the wave of the force around, he's still actively using it.
Can she tell what he's doing?
Not with your low roll, but you can definitely see that he's actively deploying the force. And he signals, and Nazel tells her half of her group to move forward while the archers are standing back. Doesn't look like he's directing the archers, but he's doing something else.
Okay. Can she tell what?
Something she's seen Duro do.
Oh, that's not vague or anything.
When Duro was directing the defense of her village, she saw Duro do this. This is really familiar to her. It's as if he's reaching out and touching each of his fellow warriors.
Ah, battle mind. Am I right?
Can't answer that.
But can she make a leap to guess that?
Of course, she can always make a leap.
Okay.
Oh, read the comments.
Yeah, I just saw battle meditation. That's a skill then. Not I mean I'm sorry, that's a feat, not a skill, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, observation question. These guards went down without a sound.
Yep.
So, nobody in the Nirani camp has been alerted yet that they are under attack.
Nope. The second set of arrows goes after those guards that Tesara saw were the outer guards, those walking the perimeter. Now the arrows are going after the roving patrols through the tents. And now she can see what he's doing. He's reaching out and directing each you her original guess was right. He's directing each arrow, letting it land exactly where it needs to land. Now, that doesn't take away from the skill of the vow. They shouldn't have this high of a skill with arrows, especially if they had just got these arrows, you know, a few days ago or even a few weeks ago.
Okay. So all of this is making sense to me, and it's making sense to Tesara. So if she was to scan this Nirani camp, is there anything evident in the way that the Nirani culture is that would denote where their queen child is in whatever hut or tent or whatever? Like sometimes, you'll go and you'll see, oh, you can tell that that's an important person because there's all sorts of like, tapestries and flags and whatever out front. Is there anything like that to denote where the child would be?
Well, there are flags everywhere. There are religious and spiritual symbols everywhere. Um, so it's not difficult, but yeah, you know what? I'll the tent that has the three dead warriors near it is probably where the queen is.
Okay. Can she move forward um in that direction silently, slowly, without interrupting what the Val folk are doing?
I will tell you this much. It is broad daylight. You are in a desert environment with limited cover. Now, that doesn't mean there's not cover, but there's limited cover. If she makes a sound, she will be immediately spotted by the three archers, that are continuing to pick off any Nirani who happens to look like they might interfere with the rest of the warriors moving forward. There's at least 10 warriors, at least on this side, that you can see moving towards the encampment.
Val folk warriors.
Yes.
Okay. She is going to stay put
Okay.
and she's just going to watch. That is the tent or hut that she is watching to see what is happening.
Okay.
Now, I can assume, because I'm not stupid, that while they're picking off guards right now, there are likely other women. If I remember correctly, there were women with the Nirani that weren't the baby's mother. But so far, all they've picked off are the Nirani warriors and guards, right?
Correct.
Okay, so she's just going to watch.
Okay. And once the initial wave of warriors are down, she's Tesara can estimate that they've probably killed about 10, maybe 12 Nirani warriors who were on guard duty. Jer'rin moves into the fray, and as he approaches, you see him activate his lightsaber.
Yeah, I was expecting that.
And they go hut by hut, moving silently. And each time they exit a hut, blades are dripping with blood. But you don't hear much sound. They always travel in packs of 3 or 4. Nazel goes in with 2 of her warriors and, then exits. Her blades are dripping with blood.
Tesara is clenching her jaw so tightly, it's giving her, like, her ears and her brain is buzzing, and she's dug her fingernails into her palm, but she's not moving. She's continuing to watch, because if they head for that tent with their swords out, that's what she's waiting for to see if they do or not.
Okay. After they make their initial sweep, the alarm is finally sounded, and the battle begins in earnest. And the archers, even without Jer'rin's help, are still really good. But Tesara, give me a spot check.
$16 plus 10 is 26.
The archers, even though there's panic and there's combat going on down there, they're only targeting warriors.
Okay, so if a woman is running out of a tent or a hut, they're not immediately setting upon her to kill her?
Correct. Only those carrying weapons.
Okay. Like, all right, so she just continues to watch.
The battle, after the sneaky phase, lasts only about maybe 5 minutes longer. And they've killed all the Narani warriors, including their elders. And by the time the battle is over, the Val warriors from the village who were not part of this approach from the village with the elders, and they're horrified. And Jer'rin's group rounds up all the non-warriors, and
Is she close enough to hear what is being spoken?
she can hear because they're, "What have you done? You have brought the wrath of the spirits upon us." And by this time, even the Val villagers have come out to see what's going on. And Jer'rin lines up all of the non-warriors, at the edge of the Val encampment towards the village. And he deactivates his lightsaber and tells them, "I am a Coruscant god. Do you think I would let the spirits harm my worshipper?" And he motions for Nazel to step forward, and she steps forward. "Do not be afraid of what we have done. The days of the spirits are over. As what was said by the goddess Anarin, we've let arrogance lead us astray. The spirits never wanted these traditions. They don't want us to murder people for no sense. The era of the spirits is past." And the one of the warriors who's with the elders charges her, and Jer'rin moves like a blur and kills the warrior with his lightsaber. I mean, so fast, Tesara had to blink, and she almost thinks that he never moved, but she knows he moved. And he covered almost 30 yards in a blink of an eye. And he was literally, after he killed this warrior, standing in the middle of the elders with his lightsaber up to the throat of one of the elders. As Nazel smiles and continues, "We are in an era of the Coruscant Gods. Gone are the traditions. Gone are the ways of the old." And on that, Jer'rin spins and decapitates the 6 elders.
Tesara slaps her hand. The minute he starts to spin, she claps her hand over her mouth and literally bites her own thumb to stop herself from crying out.
And
she watches them all die.
Yep. And I'm gonna stop the show there. It's 10:11.
Wow.
Okay. So right now, from her vantage point, she sees all of this happening, which means all of the villagers, the Valfolk villagers, watch this happening, and the women and children and queen of the Nerani watch this happening. And so the warriors of the Valfolk that arrived on the scene, one of them got killed because he stepped forward to stop it, but the others did not. Is that right?
Correct. He didn't just step forward; he charged Nazel, and Jer'rin, who was standing a bit behind Nazel, covered 30 yards in a blink of the eye, and killed him, and proceeded on to the center of the elders.
Yeah, that I got. I just wanted to verify that the other warriors who did not join this whole thing with the mirrors and the messaging and whatever, none of them did the same. None of them charged forward as well. They are all literally standing around in shock, staring at him, right?
They appear more confused than anything, and some of them don't appear like they disagree with what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, wow, that was something. She had a suspicion that he was going to do something drastic, but she didn't know it was going to be this drastic. Are you still recording?
I am. I just want to see if there's any discussion before I shut it down.
I don't have any more questions.
Anybody?
Nope.
Why didn't Tesara, if Tesara's inclination was to stop this from happening, why didn't she try?
She wanted to stop the mother and the child from being killed. That was her inclination.
And when she saw that the mother and child were not in any danger because of Jer'rin's involvement, she stepped back and let it happen?
Yes. Don't mistake that for being cold-hearted. She's absolutely horrified right now and frozen and can't really move.
Oh, I'm aware, but I guess it was so no innocent lives were lost, only the warriors died. So when she saw that was going to be the outcome, she decided not to step in and get involved.
Correct.
I guess my only other question is, how long is she going to let Jer'rin continue down the path of the dark side before she walks up and lobs his head off with a lightsaber?
I don't know.
That's assuming he's on the path of the dark side. He hasn't done anything dark yet.
I'm sorry, what?
Name what he's done dark.
He just lobbed off the heads of all of these village elders
Yeah,
that
who?
were that were that were not attacking him, that was not a self-defense act. So
Was it murder?
yes. Okay, I honestly, Mike, you've got me stumped here. How? Because if any one of us had done that, we would have gotten a dark side point.
Would you?
It wasn't self-defense. So yes, I'm inclined to say yes.
You don't
Am I
Mm.
like
ki-
everybody else? Am I wrong?
killing doesn't necessarily mean it has to be in self-defense. You can kill in combat. That doesn't have to be self-defense. Even if you initiate combat, you can still
I
kill.
understand that, but those elders were not in combat with him.
It was a power struggle. They could have easily ordered his warriors or his followers to be executed.
Okay, I have decided to choose my battles, and this is not one I will be
No,
fighting right now.
no. All I'm saying is, where you jump off the cliff, you might want to really look deep in what's going on.
Um, I know that there's onion layers to this.
Yeah, and
Right now,
there's arguments both ways.
yep.
If he had those elders subdued in any way and their heads off, and they had already been vanquished, it seems, especially when he says things like, I'm a Coruscant god and the days of the spirits are over. The Coruscant gods will reign here supreme. Basically, what he did was set himself up to rule even over the queen. He basically put himself up above the queen.
I gotta admit, like the actions of attacking the warriors and taking down the warriors and the guards, but not attacking or killing the innocent. Yep. Okay. Cool. I'm on that. I'm on that. Like I don't like the death, but it is what it is. Tesara will have seen that in her own village. You know, they were coming in expecting a fight, and they didn't get the fight that they thought they were going to get, but they still got to fight, and they died. It sucks, but there it is, right? That's part of the reason she didn't interrupt. Was what good was it going to do to interrupt? She could get herself killed, and she could make a huge blunder, whatever, right? But the elders walking in with no weapons on them and no visible cues that they were about to attack. And what Hodge just said was that he just basically set himself up as a god, which is a very ego-driven thing. That Tesara specifically said to herself, I will not allow this role that I'm temporarily putting on to go into my ego whatsoever. It feels to me like Jer'rin has he has good intentions, but that's the whole point of the dark side is good intentions. So I don't understand why he wouldn't get himself a dark side point for that.
So let me ask you this. What's this between love? Well, first of all, there's a perception problem. Those elders are all warriors. No one ever said they were not armed. However, that's a nuance. The big question is, killing warriors in their sleep, how is that any different than killing the elders standing there, with other warriors at their beck and call.
So to me, it's a thing about honor. Okay, so I'm sorry. There's a buzzing in the background. I am dying of it's super hot here, and I'm like sweating. So sorry. There's a fan in the background. It's a matter of honor, right? So the Nirani came to this village like a raiding party of Vikings, banging their shields, going, "We will fight tomorrow, and we will die with honor." Right? So the ones that got woken up and started to fight, yeah, they died with honor and whatever. This piece of going in and killing the warriors that hadn't even had a chance to even fight yet is just dishonorable, right? Dishonor on you, your cow, whatever, but not a dark side point thing, in my opinion. It's dirty pool. It's dishonorable. I understand why they did it, but those elders did not, unless I am mistaken, because you said it was a nuance, and I don't know about that. If those elders had weapons on them and were planning to take part in the fight as well, that might change things for me. I don't know.
I think that's exactly what Traveler is saying, though, is that those elders were warriors, and they were, well, I'm guessing the tactic here is allowed to survive the onslaught, which, the dishonorable onslaught of attacking in your sleep, prove a point to the rest of the Nirani who were awake and aware and alive and everything else. These are your warrior elders. These are not, wizened sages that are sitting up on some mountain, smoking dope and dispensing with riddles to the masses, and they're warriors. So having these 6 men executed, or these 6 elders executed, as being made an example of, we can take you in your sleep, but look, we're taking the heads of your village. Literally.
Quick correction: the elders that are in question are Val elders.
Oh, even better.
He had said that the Nirani elders had been killed as well, and I totally saw that coming. Right? I was like, yeah, you're going to slaughter their warriors. You're going to slaughter their elders as well. That's like a thing. But the Valfolk elders,
yeah, that was a power move.
Stumbling in, looking around in horror and saying, what the hell have you done? And then just off with your heads. I don't know how that. I just don't understand.
Oh no, that's easy. There's a new sheriff in town.
I know, honey. I'm saying I don't understand why the sheriff doesn't get a toe on the side, on the path of the dark side. That would, if he was a character, earn him a point. That's what I'm saying.
Because he was defending his group of people. Because those elders at any point in time could have ordered his group's deaths. And because of their customs, his group of people likely would have complied.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
And the ego part?
Ego alone can't get you a dark side point. I mean, it can start you down the path, but it's the actions that get you a dark side point.
Oh, well.
In the case of this, it's not a dark side point because it was defense. But if he were to, say, kill the Nirani, or the Nirani, or the visitors, right? Yeah. If he were to kill the rest of the Nirani tribe that is there, that would probably be a dark side point because they are not in combat. They're non-combatants.
I do see the Val elders. It was a preemptive strike against the Val elders and letting everybody in the world know there's a new sheriff in town. It was a power move. It's definitely Sith heading down that path, especially when he steps up and says, "I'm a god." Dark side point, that's a GM call.
So the reason why I stopped it there is so you guys would have the time to make this discussion. And I encourage Tesara to follow through on this conversation because her next actions are going to really hinge on not what I do as storyteller, not what anybody else says, but on Tesara's perceptions. I did not make any actions in game to say, oh, this is a dark side point, that's a dark side point, that's not a dark side point. I'm merely posing the question to Tesara to have the character look at this and make her decision. Because mechanically, it is irrelevant what happens. Yeah, I can say all day long, oh, it's not a dark side trend. But Tesara says, that's fucking evil, and I'm going to stop this. You know what? That's well within her right. And I don't want to corrupt or steal her agency by saying, oh, it's not a dark side act.
Fair enough. I'm struggling with where they got any idea of what Tesara said in that meeting with the elders, and I'll have to go back and reread it. Would have given them the inclination that that behavior was okay. Because they used her as the rallying cry for their behavior.
Oh.
I'll have to go back and reread it.
Lily, do you remember in our first game with Mike how Tesara would speak words?
Phaedra?
Phaedra. How Phaedra would speak words and then suddenly discover those words had been pretzeled and twisted and warped and used in ways that she never intended.
All the damn time.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, in Amy's defense, though, this was really fucking hard. I really had to struggle. And it kind of came down to there isn't a whole lot for me to work with. You know, so they said, well, got us an errand said that, you know, your arrogance. So he laid, you know, the arrogance of the elders at their feet. You know, it's your arrogance that you haven't even been listening to the spirits.
In the same breath, he stepped up and said, the era of the spirits is over. I am God. Hear me roar as I whack off the heads of the elders who would disagree with me.
Yeah. So, I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot I could fucking work with. I mean, I tried.
Right, but
I
Jer'rin
really
as
tried.
a master manipulator would know how to take what she did say and warp and twist it to be something else or add meaning into it that might not have originally been there because he wants something and he is apparently one of those people, you know, I'm just going to say it, you know, an abuser, a master manipulator going, how can I take what that person just said and twist it to my own ends? Ah, I've got it. The goddess said blah blah, which is what she said. But then he took what was said and he twisted it to his own ends. Now, did he take everything that she said? No. He took one, maybe two things that she said and used it against them.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest, as a player, I'm not surprised at all that was done, that Jer'rin used whatever Tesara had said in that group to his own ends. I very much expected that to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I expected it. So, you know, what Tesara does next, yes, I don't know what she's going to do next. I have no idea. And I've got a couple of days to think about it. But yeah, that whole thing was very, what's the word that I want? It's very Anakin to look at a situation and go, this is bad. I know how to fix it. I'm going to fix it. and I'm gonna fuck it up. And that's Jer'rin, but that's Tesara too. I put her in there going, I'm gonna stick my foot in business that's not mine, right? So I'm not saying that my character is perfect. She's not. But like Jer'rin saying, I'm a god, and the time of the Coruscant gods is here. You know, he's basically just negated their entire culture, their entire way of life in one or two sentences. Like,
So-
there is no queen anymore. There's a king now.
So
Not a king, a god.
I want to make sure I make this clear. Okay. All he said was what he said. There was no twisting of Tesara's words because you've learned a lot, and there wasn't a whole lot I could use. And what I was able to use was pretty kind of limited in how I could use it. So don't go beating yourself up too hard on it because you've learned. And the flip side of that is Karen's a god too. He didn't really need to use her words or manipulate them. He can use his own. But more importantly, who was doing the majority of the talking at the end of that scene?
Jer'rin.
Was he?
No, Nazel. I'm sorry. It was Nazel.
Nazel.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Oh, Michael.
What?
That's brilliant.
Lily, I love you. I really, really do. But please, can you give us your input? Because my brain is hurting right now.
Yeah.
I need the traveler's permission to pull back the kimono, at least as far as I see it on this one.
You can try.
Fair enough. Jer'rin is being fed the ego and the god and the this and the that. Nazeel's the puppet master. So she's the one pulling the strings. She's going to be the one wearing the crown. He may be the mouthpiece and the puppet out front, but as his consort, and I put that in big fat quotes, she's going to be a goddess right there beside him. And he would do what she wanted because he loves her.
Okay, that makes sense.
Did I miss the mark, Traveler?
I'm gonna shrug.
I'm gonna go with nope.
How about this? When I buy you your pizza at Broadway Pizza, I'll tell you your answer.
That's a month from now.
Yeah.
Rude.
At least I told her when I would tell her.
Okay, so that does, thank you, Lily. I deeply appreciate your insight because my brain right now, it feels like pudding. I don't even know. Because the other thing is that's bothering me about that is that Nazel herself, like her identity is like her name itself was a gift from the spirits. So when she left Origin and went to Coruscant and was spent time there and learned all the things that she learned, did she literally just take off the entirety of her identity as one of the Valfolk and adopt this thing and so wholeheartedly? Because she knows where the Valfolk baby is. So that tells me that she, it's her. I don't know, Mike, can I reveal this?
Sure.
Okay. So the reason that Tesara couldn't find the Valfolk baby is that the mother knew that there was a good chance that the baby would die with the Nirani there. And so she bolted with the help of several people, Nazel being one of them. So she left town and is hiding like out in the desert somewhere in a cave or something. I don't know. She's gone with the child. So that baby is safe. Then Nazel helped do that. So all of her traditions, her whole life says one of those children will be queen and be able to, like a la Airbender, be able to manipulate all of the elements. So my confusion comes in is, has she set that aside completely and believed that she will now be the one to do that?
No, I don't think she will. I think that the whoever the chosen child is will, but she will have the she's sitting at the right hand of God. There's power there. And the queen will then answer to God because the spirits are dead. So the spirits may be manifesting in this child, but God reigns supreme. And as for, would she put that whole thing aside? How many times have we seen people have radicalized conversions when they're introduced to something so ritualistic or magical that they are swept away and forget everything they ever grew up with?
Right. I was thinking about that very thing while I was talking and seeing that as an absolute possibility. So yeah, I agree that it is an absolute possibility. And sitting at the right hand of God, the spirits are dead, the gods are here. She could be a god as well, and that means the queen answers to her and Jer'rin.
Well,
So
would answer to Jer'rin, but she's pulling the strings.
right. So I mean, my my question comes in is, what is Jer'rin going to do when mommy comes back?
Says mommy's coming back. How do you know that the professor's not going to take her off world in his shuttle and go stay in the southern ruins or who knows what?
She said she doesn't want to leave Origin. Remember we were saying, do you want to come with us back after we've done the thing? And she was like, no, I'm gonna stay here. I don't think that the professor could talk her into leaving Origin.
I think he could now.
Well, we'll figure it out. Not figure it out, but we'll find out. Okay.
As it
Wow.
stands now, Nazel leads about 38 warriors. And they are poised and ready to go on the offensive if necessary. There's about another 80 warriors at the edge of the village, along with probably 200-300 civilians standing around just trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay, so on Thursday, are we picking up right where we left off?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. She just asked a good question.
There they are.
No birds. Woohoo.
I hope Duro will have a chance to actually enjoy listening to.
Agreed.
Oh,
Duro,
I'm
where are you?
I'm sad he couldn't participate tonight. Let me stop the recording.